Welcome to Chapter 8, Concept 2. Today we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials, and we're going to start small. So we're going to start by multiplying monomials with trinomials. Remember, monomial means 1 and trinomial means 3. So we're going to call the multiplication that we're doing today 1 by 3, and you'll see why in just a little bit. The first thing you got to remember when we're multiplying is that all we're going to be doing is taking the monomial and we're going to distribute it to the trinomial. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just distribute the monomial. Remember, when you distribute, you're going to multiply the coefficients. And then what are you going to do with your exponents? You are going to add your exponents. Okay? So let's take a look at what that's going to be like. In example 1, I have a monomial on the outside, negative 8m, and I want to multiply it by this trinomial inside, m squared plus 6m minus 6. So I'm going to distribute it to each part, which means I'm just going to multiply each part by the monomial. So multiply coefficients, add the exponents. So negative 8 times, what's the coefficient here? It's a 1. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. M times m squared, add the exponents, is m cubed, because this is a 1. Then negative 8 times positive 6 gives me negative 48. M to the 1 times m to the 1 gives me m squared when I add the exponents. And then negative 8 times negative 6 gives me positive 48 this time. And m to the 1 times nothing there is just m to the 1. So we've distributed the monomial to all parts of the trinomial and we're done. But there's a method that's even easier to do, and it's called the box method. That's what you see over here on the right. All the multiplication that we do in this chapter, we're going to do the box method. That's what I'm going to show you. But if you're ready for a challenge and you want to move it up to the next level, try doing it this way. Try doing it without the box. But if you find that you're struggling or you seem to get lost, the box is a great way to keep everything straight. Now here's why we call it 1 by 3. Because it's 1 high, 1 square high, and 1, 2, 3 squares wide. And we're going to do that to compensate for the monomial and then the 1, 2, 3 trinomial that we're multiplying it by. So let's take a look at the second example. Again, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply my coefficients and add my exponents, just like I was doing before. So here I have negative 1 times negative 7 gives me positive 7. X squared times x squared gives me x to the 4th when I add my exponents. Negative 1 times negative 3 gives me positive 3. X squared times x gives me x cubed. Negative 1 times negative 4 gives me positive 4. X squared times, there's nothing there, gives me x squared. So now, once I've done the multiplication in the box, I can break it out of the box and see that my final answer is just 7x to the 4th plus 3x cubed plus 4x squared. And there's your final answer. Let's take a look at a couple more. Number 27. Let's see. Here we have, again, a monomial on the outside. Even though it's just a number, that's still considered a monomial. And we're going to just distribute it to all 3 parts. So when I make my box, 1 high, 3 wide. 1, 2, 3. Quick and easy. Now I'm going to write my terms around the outside. Negative 8, negative 4n squared, negative 3n, positive 1. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my multiplication. Negative 8 times negative 4 is positive 32. And there is no variable here, so this n squared is just going to stay n squared because there's nothing that's being multiplied by it. Now, negative 8 times negative 3 gives me positive 24. Nothing to multiply by the n, so it stays n. Negative 8 times positive 1 gives me negative 8. Now that the multiplication is done, I can take it out of the box. And I have 32n squared plus 24n minus 8, and that is my final answer, so I'm going to box it up. Let's do another one. 29. Okay, so here we have a monomial on the outside. We're going to distribute it to all 3 parts. And I'm going to do that using a box, a 1 by 3 box. And I'm going to put my terms all the way around the outside. Okay, so I have it all set up. Now you should be able to do this along with me on the video and just kind of use the video to check yourself because we're just multiplying. So let's see, negative 4 times 7, well that's negative 28. Nothing to multiply by the x squared, so it stays x squared. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20, and nothing to multiply by the x, so it stays x. Negative 4 times negative 5 gives me positive 20 again, and there are no variables, so that term is done. Now I'm going to break it out of the box for my final answer to get negative 28x squared plus 20x plus 20, and there's my final answer, so I'm going to box it up. Why don't you pause the video and give 28 and 30 a try on your own? Those are the answers you should have had for 28 and 30. If you didn't get them, be sure to pause the video and see if you can figure out what went wrong. Meanwhile, let's keep plugging on with some examples, shall we? Take a look at 31. 31, I have this monomial out here. I'm going to distribute. Not a problem. That's what we've been doing the whole time. 1 by 3 is my box. Yoink, yoink. And I'm going to put my terms all the way around the outside. 7x squared, negative 6x, negative 6. Now I'm going to multiply my coefficients and add my exponents. Negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. X times x squared gives me x cubed when I add my exponents. Negative 8 times negative 6 is positive 48. X times x is x squared. Negative 8 times negative 6 is positive 48, and x times nothing just stays x. Break it out of the box for your final answer, and we have negative 56x cubed plus 48x squared plus 48x. And there's our final answer for that one. How about number 33? Going to distribute, and I make my box. Everything's easier when you sing it, so don't be afraid to just sing these math terms out as you write them around the outside of your box. And now we're going to multiply coefficients, add the exponents. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. M squared times m squared is m to the 4th because we add the exponents. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. M squared times m is m cubed. Negative 5 times negative 6 is positive 30. M squared times nothing stays m squared. So now I'm going to break it out of my box for my final answer. There we go. All done. Multiplying polynomials isn't as hard to do as apparently it is to say. Let's do one more. Distribute is what we're doing. So we're going to have a 1 by 3. And our terms go around the outside. N squared plus n minus 2. And I'm going to put my 1 in here just to make sure I don't forget that it's there. 5 times 1 is 5. N squared times n squared is n to the 4th. 5 times 1 is positive 5 again. N squared times n is n cubed. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. N squared times nothing stays n squared. Break it out of the box. And I have that. There's my final answer. There you go. I'm going to let you do these last 3 on your own and come to class ready to talk about them tomorrow. But there's something important you need to know. When you're doing your secret question tonight and submitting it online, the computer writes exponents a little weird. Remember, it uses that little caret symbol, which you can get when you use Shift 6. Okay? So just to show you what your answer would look like when you type it in for your secret question, let's say this was it, and it's not, but just if it was, it would be 5n caret 4 plus 5n caret 3 minus 10n caret 2. So that's what it's going to look like when you type it in. So just remember, Shift 6. Thanks for watching.